Well, that was weird. What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan, and I'm here today to talk to you about the 37 to 21 loss to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Remember in the BC video where I said like, oh, if we lose to Hamilton, I hit the alarm bell. That came with the pretext of if we also lose to Toronto. And I'm going to say the same thing. If we lose to Saskatchewan, I'm going to hit the alarm bell if we also lose to Montreal. And the reason why I have to clarify that is because in this league, who knows? Genuinely, this whole week was weird. I mean, you look at what's happened in these past few weeks. BC dominated us and Montreal. Toronto loses to Hamilton and then gets dominated by us. So what happens? Hamilton beats us and Toronto dominates BC. And Montreal ties with Calgary. So who knows? And if there's anything that this game proves, it's that any given team can win any given game, any given week. And you can't count one team out just because of their record. Which, it's scary as a good team, but also comforting because we've got 2 games against Montreal. Don't mark those up as losses yet. Those games aren't done. They haven't been played. We might beat Montreal. And because they tied, if we beat Montreal twice, but like if we meet them in our next 2 matchups and we just match their record for the rest of the season, we would finish in first. Like that is still a feasible situation. It's a scenario that is not completely divorced from reality. It feels like it should be since we just lost to Hamilton. But hey, Toronto lost to Hamilton, didn't they? They bounced back. They lost to what? Hamilton, then us. They were looking dead in the water. And they sure did bounce back, didn't they? And we've done it. Montreal destroyed us. But our second half was looking a little bit better. And this is why I have some hope. And okay, I'll get to the positives right now. LeBourne, good game. Like what he did. Hardy, good game. 1,000 yards, 1,000 receiving yards this season. Good game. Rhymes, despite the fumble early in the game. Good game. Mazzoli came in the fourth quarter and he played pretty well. He got us back into the game when that seemed impossible. It seemed impossible. And like there was a good chunk of game that, okay, not a good chunk, but there was a time where the game was close in the fourth quarter. Like there was a period of time in the fourth quarter where the game had not yet been decided. And we went into the fourth quarter down 23. So yeah, like the end of the game wasn't amazing, but he had a good game. And obviously Ward, I mean, he didn't have too much work to do this game, but when he did, of course he was automatic, which compared to the other guy was impressive. All I can say is this game was weird. I'm gonna give you what happened. So, Pickett went down early, and I do think injuries on defense definitely affected the outcome of this game. But Hamilton, they got the ball down to about our 40. They kick a field goal up 3-0. Now, we get a beautiful pass broken up because of pass interference. So we get moved way down. We're moving into their 20. We're at least going to tie. We fumble. Hamilton recovers. That is a play. Huge swing of momentum for Hamilton. Oh, we got a 2-and-out. Okay, that's good. And we get the ball moving. Big reception from Ackland. Get us into their 10. But we don't get the touchdown. Tie game. Oh, okay. Classic Ottawa start. That's fine. 3-3. And then Hamilton's moving down the field. They fumble. We recover. Now the momentum swings in our favor and we do nothing. And then the punt gets blocked. And they return it for a touchdown. And a huge momentum swing back to Hamilton. And this is the first quarter, mind you. So it's 10-3 Hamilton. And we get more than one time count violation, by the way, in the first quarter. And we get another 2-and-out. So they get into our territory. So that's the end of the first quarter. Not a good first quarter, but like we need to wake up. But a weird first quarter, to say the least. I mean, between the punt blocked and the fumble in our own territory, that is like already about a 10-point swing. That right, like they're up 10-3, and that's a 10-point swing already. We lost by 16, by the way. So they get to our territory quickly, and we get a pick in the end zone. Okay. So again, like, you know, I talk about how like, oh, we had those fumbles in when we got deep in Hamilton territory, and we did have a few, but they also did fumble and throw a pick, and this would be their last turnover though of the game. We had 5, and I think one was a turnover on downs that actually makes it 6. So, and that's a big reason why we lost. Turnovers really cost us. I think if we just had the same amount of turnovers, I think there's a very, very good chance that we go on to win this game. We turned the ball over a lot, and it cost us big time. Because like I said, we did have some drives that looked well. We had some players that were showing up. This isn't a game where nobody showed up. But yeah, it's a nightmare start because they get into, we get the pick, go for it on 3rd and 1. Like I said, we didn't get it. And so they make it 13-3, and now we're down 10. But we move the ball, get close to their 20, settle for a field goal. Okay, 13-6. It's still a game. They waste no time. They easily get to our territory. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay, well, we force them to settle for a field goal, but still, 17-6. That's not good. That's 11 points. But they miss. So it's a Rouge, 14-6, and still a 1-score game. It's still feasible. Hey, we could win this. Could we? We do nothing with it. 2-and-out, 55-yard touchdown for Hamilton. And then we go into the second half down 21-6. I mean, we're getting the ball first, but we went from close game to like, oh, Hamilton's going to completely take over to, oh, wait, we might be back in this game to never mind, Hamilton's completely taking over. This is all the first half, by the way. Awful start. And again, risking digging a hole too early, a hole that we can't get out of. And that's exactly what happened. Again, you look at how much we lost, but you look at how we did in the fourth quarter. And, like, if it wasn't for those big plays in the first quarter, or in the first half, again, it feels like the game could have gone differently. First drive's going well. Hardy has a few good receptions. Like I said, he had a good game. Again, 1,000 receiving yards. Huge. Hats off to him. And we fumble. And they get it back at about midfield. And they kick a field goal. No, he misses again! Because this game is so friggin' weird. So instead of it being 24-6, which is a bit more of out of reach, it's 22-6, which is, if you've done your math, 16 points. That's a 2-score game. That is not completely out of the realm of possibility. You could win that game. 16 points, lots of time in the third quarter. This is CFL, not NFL. Yeah, it could happen. We need to wake up, right? Well, LeBourne, again, good game, has a few runs. Gets us into Hamilton territory. Now we're cooking. We got a touchdown here. We're back in business. Heck, even if we just get a field goal, then we're 2 touchdowns with just the 1 point from winning. Not even from tying, from winning. Okay. And guess what we do? We throw a pick. We throw a pick again deep in Hamilton territory. They move the ball effortlessly. 29-6. It's another touchdown. Put in Mazzoli. This game's over. Right? We go into the fourth quarter. Now Mazzoli is in. Down 23 points. You aren't going to get 23 points in the fourth quarter. This game's a wash. But Mazzoli wastes no time. Moves down the field. We get to their 13, and we bring up a daunting 3rd and 10. Which we get. Touchdown. Okay, 29-13. Now this felt like, okay, it is still a game. But with how effortlessly Hamilton's made it look, you kind of get the sense that this is just window dressing. This is just to make the score look not as bad when the game's over. Except our defense holds. We get the ball right back with over 10 minutes. If we could drive down the field and score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion, then maybe it would be a game if there's like 7.5 minutes left. Like if we go quick. Like if this is like a 6-7 minute drive, that's probably the game. But if this is like a 3-minute drive and we cap it off with a touchdown and 2-point conversion, all of a sudden it's a game. And that's what we do. Hardy and Rhymes deliver. They have a connection with Mazzoli like no other. Rhymes in the end zone. Touchdown 29-21 because LeBourne with the 2-point conversion. It's a game. Oh my gosh. This is another classic Hamilton collapse. This is the Ottawa REDBLACKS that we know. A team that finds a way in the fourth quarter to steal victory from the jaws of defeat when all seems to never mind. Hamilton went down the field, scored a touchdown, 2-point conversion. It's 37-21 with like 3.5 left, and then we throw a pick. And by the time we do get the ball back, but don't do much with it. We get it with 30 seconds left. Hardy with a really nice catch to get a first down in deep Hamilton territory with like no time left. So there was that. But here's the part that's especially funny. We lost by 16. Now, I don't want to say like 13 points were taken because of like, big plays. Because we've got to consider that Hamilton also was deep in our territory with their turnovers. But we had 2 turnovers deep in Hamilton territory. And I think 2 at about midfield. I got to go over them all. But between that and the blocked punt, I'd say that's probably about 13 points. Which you would say, well, Jared, who cares? You lost by 16. Except Hardy went down with like, I think a second left. Now, when you're losing by 16, whether there was 1 second on the clock or 0 seconds, it doesn't matter. Like, just call it a game. Let us go home. But if that was a 3-point game, all of a sudden, how much time was left when his knee touched that ground becomes the difference between life and death. And this is why I feel weird. This felt like a game that was winnable and not winnable. We made so many mistakes. We shot ourselves in the foot time and time and time again. Too many turnovers, too many big plays. The defense, I'm going to be honest, it looked sloppy. There were injuries though, so I can't, be too angry. But inside of that sloppy, ugly loss, inside of that, there was a team that did have opportunities to win this game. And I think this is one of 2 losses where we had an opportunity to win. This and the game against Winnipeg. They were winnable games, but they weren't super winnable, Now, here's the other thing. Ottawa's never had back-to-back losses this season. Every time we've lost a game, we've followed it up by immediately getting right back on track, getting a win. And you could say, oh yeah, but you've lost 2 of your last 3. And we also did that early in the season. Remember, we lost to Montreal, won against Hamilton, lost to Winnipeg. And then we just went undefeated for 6, 7 games? So I think it was 6. So who knows? Maybe we're gonna ride it out the rest of the season and go undefeated for the rest of the season. That's why I feel weird. I think Montreal's very much proven that they are a beatable team. I mean, Calgary and them tied. I think we could do a little better than that. Especially being that we will be the home team. We are very good at home. The Riders haven't had a good season. And also, okay. There's the part of me that is just an Ottawa fan. An Ottawa football fan, an Ottawa sports fan. A PWHL Ottawa fan, for example, who has seen this story before. Ottawa looks sure to make it. I think PWHL Ottawa was something like 95% chance that they'd make the playoffs. They blew it. They blew it and they missed. And so there's that little part of me, that voice in the back of my head that's saying, here we go again. Here we go again. We're going to do it. We're going to lose all of our games for the rest of the season. And between Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatchewan and Hamilton, oh, they're going to win enough games to all pull ahead of us. And we're going to miss the playoffs. It's going to happen again. Oh my gosh. And then the rational, and it's weird that this is the rational part of me, is saying Ottawa's a good team. And those other teams that have missed the playoffs, they were sub 500. They've been sub 500. You could kind of like, look, I love PWHL Ottawa, but yeah, you say they gotta win one of 3 games. Like, it feels like a safe bet, but it's not a super safe bet. Now, the REDBLACKS winning 1 of 5. They should be able to do that. Especially, like, they've got a game against Saskatchewan. They got a home game. They got 2 home games. And one of them is against Montreal, one against Hamilton. Now, yeah, Hamilton just beat us. But here's the other thing. If Montreal beats us at home, that virtually locks up first. Especially if we face Montreal on Thanksgiving and still haven't clinched a playoff spot, then they have almost certainly clinched first and don't need to play their starters, and actually probably shouldn't if they're playing a team looking to clinch a playoff spot. Like, in all likelihood, we'll win one of the 2 Montreal games. In all likelihood, either Montreal hasn't... I'd say the only realistic way we don't is if we lose to Montreal, beat Saskatchewan. And now the next Montreal game doesn't matter as much. Like, we've made it to the playoffs, but maybe by then Montreal has done enough that, they've clinched first. So they don't care that much, but maybe we've not got as much to play for now that we've clinched, like, maybe. But again, like, you look at it and you think, okay, one of those games, right? We bruised Toronto. We can beat them. 2 shots against Montreal, even if they do beat us for the first time at home, we will, like, be coming prepared Thanksgiving. Saskatchewan's been awful. Worst come to worst, Hamilton at home. Or one of those teams that I mentioned just lose enough games. Calgary could just lose. Edmonton could just lose. And it wouldn't really matter what Ottawa does. So objectively, it's like, yeah, we should be fine. But I'm not going to say that we're making the playoffs until we make the playoffs. I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to knock on some wood. And I'm not going to jinx it because I've seen this story before. I've seen this merry-go-round happen in this city a whole bunch. Hence the weird feeling. If we lost to Toronto, I'd be freaking out. I'd be raising the alarm bells. I'd be saying, this is it. We're collapsing. We're doing it. It's the late season. Ottawa collapsed. Don't you just love to see it? But we won. If we win 1 of 5, we're in. Like, if we win 1 of our last 5 games, you would have a winning record for the first time since 2018 and make the playoffs for the first time since 2018. And I think most Ottawa fans would say, I don't want to make the playoffs. I want to host a playoff game. Or maybe win the East. And yeah, we lost to Hamilton, and like that looks bad. But at the same time, any given week, any given game, maybe we will beat Montreal. And then we won't care about this game anymore. Every time we've lost, we've come back better. Every time we've lost, our second half was better than our first half, and we brought that momentum into the next game. If this team, the team that played like this game and made these mistakes, shows up against Montreal, we will lose. But if the team inside this team, if the team of Hardy and Rhymes and LeBourne, who had good games, show up, if the defense that got those key turnovers early in the game when it wasn't decided shows up, and not the defense that lets 55-yard touchdowns happen, not the special teams that allowed a blocked punt return for a touchdown, but the special teams that had other really good punts. again, a good game inside of a bad game. If that good game can come out next week, we'll be competitive and we'll be fine. If this good team can show up against the Riders, it won't be a game. But we had a chance to clinch and we didn't. And I've seen it happen before. Like I said, weird game, weird league. How can you not love the CFL? And as always, go Ottawa, go.